Good evening, and welcome to Footnotes and Folly. I am Professor Reginald St. John Pemberton, and tonight we open one of Shakespeare's most beautiful and most sorrowful histories, the rise and ruin of the life and death of King Richard II. We give you the whole of it, complete and unabridged, in clear modern English. The plain rendering and the asides are my own. This is part 1. A king sits secure and careless on his throne, and two great lords, his own cousin Henry Bolingbroke and the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray, come before him, hurling charges of treason and murder, each calling the other liar and throwing down his glove. Behind it lies a darker thing, the death of the king's uncle, the Duke of Gloucester, which old John of Gaunt grieves but dares not avenge. Richard lets the quarrel come to trial by combat at Coventry, and then, at the last moment, stops the fight and banishes them both. And as the aged, dying Gaunt watches, the king, light and spendthrift, leases out his own kingdom to pay for an Irish war. Let us begin.
King Richard enters with John of Gaunt, other nobles and attendants. Old John of Gaunt, honoured Lancaster, have you, as you swore and promised, brought here Henry Hereford, your bold son, so he may prove the loud accusation he recently made, which our lack of time then kept us from hearing, against the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray? I have, my liege. Tell me also, have you questioned him to learn whether he accuses the Duke out of old hatred, or rightly, as a good subject should, on some known evidence of treason in him? As closely as I could examine him on that matter, he acts because of some visible danger he sees in Mowbray aimed at your highness, not because of long-rooted hatred. Then call them before us. Face to face, frown to frown, we ourselves will hear the accuser and the accused speak freely. Both are proud-hearted and full of anger. In rage they are deaf as the sea and quick as fire. Bolingbroke and Mowbray enter. May many years of happy days come to my gracious sovereign, my most beloved liege. May each day be happier than the last, until heaven, envying earth's good fortune, adds an immortal title to your crown. We thank you both. Yet one of you is only flattering us, as the reason for your coming clearly shows. You accuse each other of high treason. Cousin of Hereford, what charge do you bring against the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray? First, let heaven witness what I say. I come as an accuser into this princely presence from the loyal love of a subject, caring for the precious safety of my prince, and free from any other ill-born hatred. Now, Thomas Mowbray, I turn to you. Mark my greeting well, because what I speak, my body will prove here on earth, or my divine soul will answer for it in heaven. You are a traitor and a criminal, too noble by rank to be such a thing, and too wicked to deserve life. The clearer and purer the sky is, the uglier the clouds look when they cross it. Once more, to make the charge heavier, I stuff the name of foul traitor down your throat, and I ask, if it please my sovereign, that before I move from here my properly drawn sword may prove what my tongue has spoken. Do not let my calm words make my zeal seem cold. This is not a woman's battle, where the bitter clamour of two eager tongues can settle the quarrel between us. The blood that must be cooled for this is hot. Yet I cannot boast of such tame patience that I would be silent and say nothing. First, my reverence for your highness restrains me from giving full freedom and speed to my speech, otherwise it would race until it had thrown these treasonous words back twice over down his throat. Set aside the royalty of his high blood, and let him be no kinsman to my liege. I defy him, I spit at him, and I call him a slanderous coward and a villain. To maintain that, I would give him every advantage and meet him, even if I had to run on foot to the frozen ridges of the Alps, or to any other habitable ground wherever an Englishman dares set his foot. Meanwhile, let this defend my loyalty. By all my hopes, he lies most falsely. Pale, trembling coward, there I throw down my pledge of combat, here denying any advantage from kinship with the king and laying aside the royalty of my high blood, which fear, not reverence, makes you use as an excuse. If guilty dread has left you enough strength to take up this pawn of my honour, then stoop and pick it up. By that pledge and by all the rights of knighthood, I will prove against you, arm to arm, everything I have spoken, and anything worse you can invent. I take it up. By the sword that gently laid knighthood on my shoulder, I swear I will answer you in any fair rank or chivalrous design of knightly trial. And when I mount my horse, may I never dismount alive if I am a traitor, or if I fight unjustly. What charge does our cousin lay against Mowbray? It must be great if it can make us entertain even a thought of evil in him. What I speak, my life, shall prove true, that Mowbray received 8,000 nobles in the name of loans for your highness's soldiers, and held them back for corrupt uses, like a false traitor and injurious villain. Besides, I say, and will prove in battle, here or elsewhere to the farthest edge ever seen by English eyes, that all the treasons plotted and contrived in this land for these 18 years take their first source and spring from false Mowbray. Further, I say, and will further maintain upon his wicked life in order to prove all this, that he plotted the Duke of Gloucester's death, stirred up his quick-believing enemies, and then, like a traitorous coward, let his innocent soul run out through streams of blood. That blood, like sacrificial Abel's, cries even from the tongueless caverns of the earth to me for justice and harsh punishment. By the glorious worth of my descent, this arm shall do it, or this life shall be spent. How high his resolution flies! Thomas of Norfolk, what do you say to this? Oh, let my sovereign turn away his face and command his ears to be deaf for a little while, until I have told the slanderer of his own blood how God and good men hate so foul a liar. Mowbray, our eyes and ears are impartial. If he were my brother, even the heir to my kingdom, instead of only my father's brother's son, I swear by the awe of my sceptre that such nearness to our sacred blood would give him no privilege, and would not bias the unbending firmness of my upright soul. He is our subject, Mowbray, so are you. I allow you free and fearless speech. Then Bolingbroke, I say down as deep as your heart, through the false passage of your throat, that you lie. 3 parts of that money I received for Calais, I duly paid out to his highness's soldiers. The other part I kept with consent, because my sovereign liege owed me money from a costly account remaining since I last went to France to fetch his queen. Now swallow that lie. As for Gloucester's death, I did not kill him, but to my own disgrace I neglected my sworn duty in that matter. As for you, my noble lord of Lancaster, honourable father to my foe, I once laid an ambush for your life, a trespass that still troubles my sorrowing soul. But before I last received the sacrament, I confessed it and earnestly begged your grace's pardon, and I hope I received it. That is my fault. As for the rest of the accusations, they come from the malice of a villain, a coward, and a most degenerate traitor. I will boldly defend myself against him, and in return, I throw down my pledge at this arrogant traitor's foot, to prove myself a loyal gentleman even against the best blood enclosed in his breast. In eagerness for that, I most heartily ask your highness to appoint the day of our trial. Gentlemen kindled with anger, be ruled by me. Let us purge this heat without drawing blood. This is what we prescribe, though we are no physician. Deep malice makes too deep a wound. Forget, forgive, conclude the matter, and be reconciled. Our doctors say this is no month for bleeding. Good uncle, let this end where it began. We will calm the Duke of Norfolk, you calm your son. To be a peacemaker suits my age. Throw down the Duke of Norfolk's pledge, my son. And, Norfolk, throw down his. When? Obedience says I should not have to ask again. Norfolk, throw it down, we command it. There's no argument. Dread sovereign, I throw myself at your foot. You may command my life, but not my shame. My duty owes you the one, but my fair name, which lives beyond death upon my grave, you shall not give over to dark dishonour. I am disgraced, accused, and publicly shamed here, pierced to the soul by slander's poisoned spear, which no balm can cure except the heart's blood of the man who breathed this poison. Rage must be resisted. Give me his pledge. Lions make leopards tame. Yes, but they do not change a leopard's spots. Take away my shame, and I will give up my pledge. My dear, dear lord, the purest treasure mortal times can offer is a spotless reputation. Once that is gone, men are only gilded earth or painted clay. A bold spirit in a loyal breast is like a jewel locked in a chest barred 10 times over. My honour is my life, both grow together as one. Take honour from me, and my life is finished. Then, my dear liege, let me try my honour. In that I live, and for that I will die. Cousin, throw up your pledge. You begin. O God, defend my soul from such a deep sin. Shall I seem crest, fallen in my father's sight? Shall I, with pale beggar's fear, lower my standing before this coward who has dared me? Before my tongue wounds my honour with such a feeble wrong, or sounds so base a parley, my teeth shall tear out the slavish impulse of recanting fear and spit at bleeding in high disgrace where shame makes its home, straight in Mowbray's face. Gaunt exits. We were not born to beg, but to command. Since we cannot command you into friendship, be ready on your leads at Coventry on St. Lambert's Day. There your swords and lances shall settle the swelling difference of your fixed hatred. Since we cannot reconcile you, we will see justice appoint the victor by chivalry. Lord Marshal, command our officers, at arms to be ready to direct these domestic alarms. They exit. John of Gaunt enters with the Duchess of Gloucester. Alas, my share, in Woodstock's blood urges me more strongly than your outcries do to rise against the men who butchered his life. But since the power to punish lies in the same hands that committed the fault we cannot correct, let us leave our quarrel to the will of heaven. When heaven sees that the time on earth is ripe, it will pour burning vengeance down on the heads of those who have done wrong. Does brotherhood give you no sharper spur than that? Is there no living fire of love left in your old blood? Edward's 7 sons, and you are one of them, were like 7 vessels of his sacred blood, or 7 fair branches growing from one root. Some of those 7 have dried up in the natural course of life, some of those branches have been cut away by fate. Thomas, my dear lord, my life, my Gloucester, one vessel full of Edward's sacred blood, one flourishing branch from his most royal root has been cracked, and all the precious blood spilled out, he has been hacked down, and all his summer leaves have faded by the hand of envy and the bloody axe of murder. Ah, Gaunt, his blood was yours. The same bed, the same womb, the same substance, the very same mold that shaped you also made him a man. Though you live and breathe, you are murdered in him. In a great measure, you consent to your father's death when you stand by and watch your wretched brother die, he who was the living image of your father's life. Do not call this patience, Gaunt, it is despair. By allowing your brother to be slaughtered like this, you show the open road to your own life and teach grim murder how to butcher you. What we call patience in common men is pale, cold cowardice in noble hearts. What more can I say? To protect your own life, The best way is to avenge my Gloucester's death. The quarrel belongs to God. God's substitute, his deputy anointed in his sight, has caused his death. If that was wrongful, let heaven take revenge, because I may never raise an angry arm against God's minister. Where then, alas, may I bring my complaint? To God, the widow's champion and defender. Then I will. Farewell, old Gaunt. You are going to Coventry to watch our cousin Hereford and fierce Mowbray fight. Oh, may my husband's wrong sit on Hereford's spear, so that it drives into butcher Mowbray's breast. Or, if bad luck makes the first charge miss, may Mowbray's sins lie so heavily in his heart that they break the back of his foaming horse and throw the rider head first into the lists, a coward and a traitor before my cousin Hereford. Farewell, old Gaunt. The wife of your former brother must end her life with her companion, Grieve. Sister, farewell. I must go to Coventry. May as much good remain with you as goes with me. One word more. Grief rebounds from where it falls, not because it is hollow and empty, but because it is heavy. I take my leave before I have even begun, for sorrow does not end when it seems finished. Give my greetings to your brother Edmund York. There, that is all. No, do not leave so quickly. Though that is all, do not go so soon. I will remember more. Tell him, what should you tell him? Tell him to visit me at Plashy as quickly as he can. Alas, and what will good old York see there except empty rooms and bare walls, deserted offices and stones that no feet tread any more? And what will he hear there to welcome him except my groans? So give him my greetings, but do not let him come there to seek out sorrow, because sorrow lives everywhere. Desolate, desolate, I will go from here and die. My weeping eye takes its last leave of you. They exit. The Lord Marshal and the Duke of Almerle enter. Heralds and attendants are present. My Lord Almerle, is Harry Hereford armed and ready? Yes, fully armed and eager to come in. The Duke of Norfolk, lively and bold, waits only for the challenger trumpet to summon him. Then the champions are prepared and waiting for nothing but His Majesty's arrival. King Richard enters and takes his seat on his throne. Gaunt, Bushy, Bagot, Green, and others enter and take their places. A trumpet sounds, and another trumpet answers from within. Then Mowbray enters in armor as the defendant, with a herald before him. Marshal, ask the champion why he has come here armed. Ask his name, and proceed in the proper order to make him swear to the justice of his cause. In God's name and the king's, say who you are, and why you come dressed like a knight in arms. Say what man you come against, and what quarrel you have. Speak truly on your knighthood and your oath, and may heaven and your courage defend you. My name is Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk. I come here bound by my oath, which God forbid any knight should break, both to defend my loyalty and truth to God, my king, and my descendants, against the Duke of Hereford, who accuses me. By God's grace and by this arm of mine, I will prove him, while defending myself, a traitor to my God, my king, and me. As I fight in a true cause, may heaven defend me. Mowbray takes his seat. A trumpet sounds. Bolingbroke enters in armor as the appellant, with a herald before him. Marshal, ask that knight in arms who he is, and why he comes here, dressed in the equipment of war. Formally, according to our law, make him declare the justice of his cause. What is your name? Why do you come here before King Richard in his royal lists? Against whom do you come, and what is your quarrel? Speak like a true knight, and may heaven defend you. I am Harry of Hereford, Lancaster, and Derby, and I stand ready here in arms to prove, by God's grace and my body's courage, in these lists against Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, that he is a foul and dangerous traitor to the God of heaven, to King Richard, and to me. As I fight in a true cause, may heaven defend me. On pain of death, no person shall be so bold or reckless as to touch the lists, except the Marshal and those officers appointed to direct these honourable proceedings. Lord Marshal, let me kiss my sovereign's hand and kneel before his Majesty. For Mowbray and I are like two men who have vowed to take a long and weary pilgrimage. Let us take a formal leave and loving farewell of our friends. The appellant, with all duty, greets your highness and asks to kiss your hand and take his leave. King Richard descends from his throne. We will come down and embrace him. Cousin of Hereford, as your cause is right, so may your fortune be in this royal fight. Farewell, my kinsman. If your blood is shed today, we may mourn it, but we cannot revenge you when you are dead. Oh, let no noble eye dishonour itself with a tear for me if Mowbray's spear wounds me. I fight Mowbray as confidently as a falcon flies at a bird. My loving lord, I take my leave of you, and of you, my noble cousin Lord Almerle. I am not sick, though I deal with death, but strong, young, cheerful, and breathing freely. Look, as at English feasts I greet the finest dish last, to make the ending sweetest. O you, the earthly source of my blood, whose youthful spirit is reborn in me, and lifts me with double strength to reach for victory beyond my head, strengthen my armor with your prayers, and with your blessings steel the point of my lance, so it may pierce Mowbray's yielding coat of mail, and make the name of John o' Gaunt shine fresh again in the vigorous conduct of his son. May God make you prosper in your good cause. Be swift as lightning when you strike, and let your blows, doubled and redoubled, fall like astonishing thunder on the helmet of your wicked enemy. Stir up your youthful blood, be brave and live. My innocence in St. George will help me prosper. Bolingbroke takes his seat. Mowbray rises. However God or fortune decides my fate, there lives or dies a loyal, just, and honest gentleman, true to King Richard's throne. No prisoner ever threw off his chains and embraced his golden, unrestricted freedom with a freer heart than my joyful soul celebrates this feast of battle with my adversary. Most mighty liege, and my fellow peers, receive from my mouth my wish that you have many happy years. I go to fight as gently and cheerfully as I would go to a game. Truth gives a quiet heart. Farewell, my lord. I clearly see virtue lying together with courage in your eye. Order the trial, marshal, and begin. The king and the lords return to their seats. Harry of Hereford, Lancaster, and Derby, receive your lance, and may God defend the right. Strong as a tower in hope I cry amen. Go carry this lance to Thomas, Duke of Norfolk. Harry of Hereford, Lancaster, and Derby stands here for God, his sovereign, and himself, ready to be found false and cowardly if he fails, to prove the Duke of Norfolk, Thomas Mowbray, a traitor to his God, his king, and him, and he dares him to come forward to the fight. Here stands Thomas Mowbray, Duke of Norfolk, ready to be found false and cowardly if he fails, both to defend himself and to prove Henry of Hereford, Lancaster, and Derby disloyal to God, to his sovereign, and to him. He waits courageously and willingly for nothing but the signal to begin. Sound the trumpets and come forward, combatants. A charge is sounded. Stop! The king has thrown down his warder. Let them put aside their helmets and their spears, and both return to their chairs again. Withdraw with us, and let the trumpet sound while we give these dukes our judgment. A long flourish sounds. Draw near and hear what we with our council have decided. Because the earth of our kingdom should not be stained with the precious blood it has nourished, because our eyes hate the dreadful sight of civil wounds ploughed open by neighbors' swords, and because we think the high-flying pride of ambitious thoughts, together with envy that hates a rival, has stirred you up to wake our peace, which in our country's cradle breathes the sweet infant breath of gentle sleep, because that peace, once roused by rough, out-of-tune drums, by the terrible blare of harsh trumpets, and by the grating clash of angry iron weapons, might be frightened from our quiet borders and make us wade in the blood of our own kin. Therefore we banish you from our territories. You, cousin Hereford, on pain of death, until 10 summers have enriched our fields, shall not greet our fair dominions again, but shall walk the foreign paths of banishment. Your will be done. This must be my comfort. The same sun that warms you here will shine on me, and the golden beams it lends to you here will shine on me as well, and gild my banishment. Norfolk, for you a heavier sentence remains, which I pronounce with some unwillingness. The sly, slow hours shall set no fixed end to the timeless limit of your dear exile. The hopeless words never to return are what I breathe against you, on pain of death. A heavy sentence, my most sovereign liege, and completely unexpected from your highness's mouth. I have deserved a kinder reward from your highness's hands, not so deep a wound as to be cast out into the common air. The language I have learned these 40 years, my native English, I must now give up, and now the use of my tongue is no more to me than an unstrung viol or harp, or like a skilled instrument shut in its case, or, if opened, put into the hands of someone who knows no touch to tune its harmony. Within my mouth you have imprisoned my tongue, locked behind the double gate of my teeth and lips, and dull, unfeeling, barren ignorance has made my jailer to attend me. I am too old to flatter a nurse, too far in years to be a pupil now. What is your sentence, then, but speechless death, which robs my tongue of speaking its native breath? It does you no good to ask for pity. Once our sentence is given, complaint comes too late. Then I turn away from my country's light, to live in the solemn shades of endless night. Mowbray withdraws. Come back again and take an oath with you. Lay your banished hands on our royal sword. Swear by the duty you owe to God, though our share in that duty we banish along with you, to keep the oath we now give you. You shall never, with truth and God as your help, embrace each other in friendship while you are in exile. You shall never look on each other's face. You shall never write to one another, send greetings, or make peace in this dark storm of hatred born here at home. And you shall never meet by deliberate plan to plot, devise, or conspire any harm against us, our state, our subjects, or our land. I swear. And I swear to keep all this. Norfolk, I speak to you only so far as you are my enemy. By this time, if the king had allowed us to fight, one of our souls would have been wandering in the air, banished from this fragile tomb of flesh, just as our flesh is now banished from this land. Confess your treasons before you leave the realm. Since you have far to go, do not carry with you the heavy burden of a guilty soul. No, Bolingbroke. If I was ever a traitor, let my name be blotted from the book of life, and let me be banished from heaven as I am banished from here. But what you are, God, you, and I all know, and all too soon, I fear, the king will regret this. Farewell, my lord. Now I can take no wrong road, except the road back to England. All the world is my road. Mowbray exits. Uncle, even in the mirrors of your eyes I see your grieving heart. Your sad face has taken 4 years away from the number of his banished years. Bolingbroke, after 6 frozen winters have passed, return from banishment and be welcomed home. How much time is contained in one little word? 4 dragging winters and 4 lively springs end in a word. Such is the breath of kings. I thank my lord that, out of regard for me, he shortens my son's exile by 4 years. But I will gain little advantage from it, because before the 6 years he still must spend can change their moons and complete their seasons. My oil-dried lamp, my light wasted by time, will be put out by age and endless night. My inch of candle will be burned down and finished, and blindfolded death will not let me see my son. Why, uncle, you have many years still to live. But not 1 minute, king, that you can give me. You can shorten my days with heavy sorrow and pull nights away from me, but you cannot lend me one tomorrow. You can help time carve me with age, but you cannot stop one wrinkle in its journey. Your word has value with time when it means my death, but once I am dead, your kingdom cannot buy back my breath. Your son was banished after good counsel, and your own tongue gave part of the verdict. Why then do you seem to frown at our justice? Things that taste sweet often turn sour in digestion. You press me to speak as a judge, but I would rather you had asked me to argue like a father. Oh, if it had been a stranger and not my child, I would have been kinder in softening his fault. I tried to avoid being accused of partiality, and in this sentence I destroyed my own life. Alas, I expected some of you to say I was too strict in driving away my own son, but instead you allowed my unwilling tongue, against my will, to do myself this wrong. Cousin, farewell, and uncle, bid him farewell too. We banish him for 6 years, and he shall go. A flourish sounds. King Richard and his train exit. Cousin, farewell. What I must not say in the king's presence, let letters show you wherever you remain. My lord, I take no leave of you, for I will ride by your side as far as land will allow me. Oh, why do you hold back your words so tightly that you return no greeting to your friends? I have too few words to take leave of you, when the tongue's duty ought to be generous and breathe out the overflowing grief of the heart. Your grief is only your absence for a time. When joy is absent, grief is present for that time. What are 6 winters? They are quickly gone. For men enjoy, yes, but grief makes 1 hour feel like 10. Call it a journey you take for pleasure. My heart will sigh when I falsely call it that, because it knows this is a forced pilgrimage. Think of the gloomy passage of your weary steps as the dark setting in which you will place the precious jewel of your return home. No, rather, every tedious stride I take will only remind me how much of the world I wander through away from the jewels that I love. Must I serve a long apprenticeship to foreign roads, and in the end, when I have earned my freedom, have nothing to boast of except that I was a skilled laborer in grief? Every place the eye of heaven looks upon can be, to a wise man, a harbor and a happy refuge. Teach your necessity to reason this way. There is no virtue like necessity. Do not think the king banished you. Think that you banished the king. Sorrow sits more heavily where it sees it is being carried weakly. Go, say that I sent you out to win honor, not that the king exiled you. Or imagine that a devouring plague hangs in our air, and you are fleeing to a fresher climate. Look at whatever your soul holds dear, and imagine it lies in the direction you are going, not in the place you come from. Imagine the singing birds as musicians, the grass you tread on as the floor of a royal presence strewn with rushes, the flowers as beautiful ladies, and your steps as nothing more than a delightful measure or dance, for snarling sorrow has less power to bite the man who mocks it and treats it lightly. Oh, who can hold fire in his hand by thinking about the frozen Caucasus? Or satisfy the sharp edge of hunger by merely imagining a feast? Or roll naked in December snow by thinking about imaginary summer heat? Oh no. Imagining something good only makes the worst thing feel sharper. Cruel sorrow's tooth never aches more deeply than when it bites, but does not lance the wound. Come, come, my son, I will escort you on your way. If I had your youth and your cause, I would not stay. Then farewell, ground of England. Goodbye, sweet soil, my mother and my nurse which still bears me. Wherever I wander, I can boast of this. Though I am banished, I am still a true-born Englishman. They exit. King Richard, Green, and Bagot enter by one door, and Almerle by another. We watched him. Cousin Almerle, how far did you escort noble Hereford on his way? I brought noble Hereford, if you choose to call him that, only as far as the next main road, and there I left him. And tell me, how many parting tears were shed? Honestly, none from me, except that the northeast wind blew bitterly in our faces, stirred the moisture in my eyes, and by chance made our empty farewell look as though it had a tear in it. What did our cousin say when you parted from him? Farewell. And because my heart scorned to let my tongue misuse that word, it taught me the trick of pretending to be so weighed down with grief that my words seemed buried in sorrow's grave. Truly, if the word farewell could have stretched the hours and added years to his short banishment, he would have had a whole book of farewells for me. But since it could not, he had none for me. He is our cousin, but it is doubtful, when time calls him home from banishment, whether our kinsman will come as a friend. We ourselves, along with Bushy, Bagot here, and Green, observed how he courted the common people, how he seemed to plunge straight into their hearts with humble, familiar courtesy, what honor he threw away on low people, how he won over poor craftsmen with practised smiles and patient acceptance of his fortune, as if he meant to carry their affections into exile with him. Off came his cap to an oyster-woman. 2 cart drivers wished God to speed him well, and received the tribute of his bending knee, with thanks, my countrymen, my loving friends, as though England were his inheritance in waiting, and he were next in our subjects' hopes. Well, he is gone, and those thoughts can go with him. Now, my liege, the rebels who hold out in Ireland must be dealt with quickly, before more delay gives them more means to gain advantage and bring loss to your highness. We ourselves will go in person to this war. And because our treasury, drained by too large a court and generous gifts, has become somewhat light, we are forced to lease out the revenues of our royal realm. That income will fund the business now before us. If it falls short, our deputies at home shall have blank charters, and when they learn which men are rich, they shall fill in those names for large sums of gold and send the money after us to meet our needs. For we will leave for Ireland at once. Bushy enters. Bushy, what news? Old John of Gaunt is gravely ill, my lord, suddenly taken sick, and has sent in great haste to beg your majesty to visit him. Where is he lying? At Ely House. Now may God put it into his physician's mind to help him to his grave at once. The lining of his coffers shall be turned into coats to equip our soldiers for these Irish wars. Come, gentlemen, let us all go visit him. Pray God we hurry and arrive too late. Amen. They exit.
And there we pause, on a king digging his own grave with a careless hand. Richard has banished his cousin Bolingbroke and Mowbray both, broken old Gaunt's heart by sending his son away, and now with the realm already mortgaged to greedy favourites for the Irish wars, he waits like a vulture for his dying uncle to breathe his last, that he may seize the Lancaster lands. It is Misrule wearing a crown and a smile. Next time, in part 2, a dying old man's great lament for England, a robbed inheritance, and a banished lord who comes home in arms to take back his own. Mind the footnotes, and beware the folly.